What's up, y'all? So this is gonna be a quick review. This is gonna be my first review for 2024. So if you didn't see the trailer video that I did for Echo when the teaser trailer released, then go ahead and watch that to see my thoughts. Those were my initial thoughts about the show before even watching it. Now that all 5 episodes were released, I can give my official thoughts on the episode, my review. So let's get into it. So episode 1 was the 50-minute long episode where it was supposed to be the introduction, showing us some of Echo's background, which I gotta say most of it was a lot of talking and sign language, which made sense because the character is deaf, so that is something new. But unfortunately, a lot of the dialogue and a lot of what is pushing the story forward isn't really all that interesting until it gets to the Kingpin stuff. And even then, I have some things to say about Kingpin. So Kingpin's relationship with Echo is kind of weird because not until the 3rd episode, which we see this in the trailer, this doesn't happen until the 3rd episode, mind you. 3rd episode is when we see, I guess, kid Echo, Maya. So Maya is a kid, is trying to get some ice cream from an ice cream man who's selling ice cream to the kids near the school. And of course, most of the kids already got their ice cream because they're regular kids. But of course, since she's deaf and she can't speak, she's trying to say something else to the guy to try to get his attention on what ice cream she wants. He ends up giving up and walking away and saying, whatever, beat it, kid. So then that's when you see Kingpin jump in and beat the guy's ass to death. Just like we see in the trailer, which is kind of like almost similar to the Netflix style where he's just brutally going after people and beating them up. But again, what we see of Kingpin doing this is just few far in between. So now his relationship is kind of a weird one because since he knows Echo since Echo was a little girl, and basically the dad had to get into Echo's father, his name is William Lopez. He was also involved with Kingpin, illegal drug trade or illegal criminal activities because he needed extra money. And with Kingpin, as we've known from the Hawkeye series and from Netflix, Kingpin, he's not the kind of person where, oh, I'm gonna do this little bit of work for you and I'm done. No, he wants you to work for him forever, pretty much. And if you try to leave from him, then that's when he goes and kills you. So the thing I thought was a little bit interesting with the show is that a lot of Maya's family were involved with Kingpin in some way, shape, or form, because Kingpin does have a lot of people out there where he has his connections, and he makes sure he has connections everywhere to cover his bases. So I thought that was interesting, but it's just, as good as all of this sounds, it's not how the show executed it, unfortunately, though, because Kingpin comes off as a crybaby who just wants Maya to just be there with him. He just wants to have Maya by his side, just like she was as a little girl, which is kind of weird and manipulative. And the acting is still well done on Vincent D'Onofrio's part. And I say the acting is good on the woman that plays Echo. I think she's actually pretty good in the role that she plays. But like I said, these 5 episodes were not needed. The first episode was basically a flashback episode where most of the scenes were from Hawkeye. So there weren't any new scenes except for maybe 2. The second episode was a long drawn out episode that had things to do with Maya's ancestry and how it connects to present day, why she's seeing visions of her family members from back then, and how that connects to her to present day, her having to meet with her grandmother so she can tell her why she's seeing the things that she saw when she was younger, because it's supposed to be like a family ancestral thing, like they're echoing through her. So I guess that's kind of similar to like the Black Panther, like how previous family members will always echo through you, like you'll always have their knowledge and power. So I guess they try to copy that. It was whatever. I thought it was whatever. Will I watch this show again? Probably not. The main thing people wanted to see was Daredevil, and I'm just gonna say right now, Daredevil was only in the first episode, and he was only in the first episode about the 23 minute mark, and that's during the time where it shows more of Maya's relationship with Kingpin, where he says that she wants her to go on a final mission, and I guess the final mission was to try to stand her ground against Daredevil of Hell's Kitchen. But they never really explained anything else, because all Kingpin says is that he wanted her to go do a test, and then they go into a room, beat some guys up, and then out of nowhere Daredevil comes, beats everybody up. And of course, because feminist agenda, Daredevil gets punched in the face a couple of times, and he's smiling while Echo, it's like he's just having a fun time while getting beaten up by Echo. It's like he beat everybody else's ass, but then when it came to Echo, he got beat a couple of times and was like not taking the fight serious, and then Daredevil's gone. So I thought the show would have gone in the route where Kingpin was going to try to use Maya to try to get some revenge on Daredevil, or to go after Daredevil, or if Daredevil would come back to the story, because I know Echo and Daredevil have history in the comics, so I don't know. And I doubt they're gonna have Echo show up again in the Daredevil Born Again series if that ever releases. And if she does show up in that series, then it's probably not going to be it's not going to be anything beneficial to Echo's character. It's mainly going to be something beneficial to Daredevil's character, if you ask me. So it looks like Disney was trying to get us to watch this show because they really were confident that people would eat this up, because they released it all 5 episodes. But this show is not worth it, if you ask me. It's a solid 5 out of 10. It's at the very least better than shows like Ahsoka, because that show was a pile of shit, but it was at the very least better than that. One other thing I will give the one other thing that I will give this show is that at least it's about Echo. It's at least about the character and not about somebody else, because how many times have we seen a Disney Plus shows where it's supposed to be about the titular character and it ends up being taken over by somebody else, being a bait and switch? So you know what, instead of a 5, I will give Echo a 6 out of 10, and that's not saying that it's great. I will give it the point only because at least the show is about the character and it's not a bait and switch, so I will give it that credit. But besides that, the plot wasn't all that interesting. The other characters were kind of bland. There was only a couple of other characters from Echo's family that I liked. I liked the cousin. I think it was the cousin, the older one. He was like saying that he's a single 45-year-old because Kingpin killed everybody else around him. I liked him, and I'm glad they didn't kill him off, because you know how they like to kill off the men. But I liked him. Maya, I guess, was cool sometimes. I like seeing the cameo from Daredevil. That was cool. He was in the red suit, so that's cool too. It wasn't that ugly yellow suit he wore in She-Hulk. But besides that, that's all I can say for this show. It's at least better than Ahsoka. It's at least better than some of the other Disney Plus shows. But that's still not saying much, though.
She don't wanna be saved, don't save her. 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 She don't wanna be saved.